Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see.
Imagine the king of hip-hop's empire starting to crumble, not in a headline, not in a courtroom, but in the shadows, where old rivals are circling. Past incidents are bubbling back to the surface, and the same forces that brought Diddy to his knees could now be closing in on Jay-Z. We've watched Sean Combs' downfall play out in real time. The prison sentences, the new investigations, the damning testimonies framing him as a predator hiding behind influence. But now, insiders are whispering that the spotlight is shifting, and this time it's trained squarely on Sean Carter. The question isn't just whether Jay-Z has skeletons in his closet, it's whether those skeletons are about to explode, dragging his billion-dollar legacy down with them. The timing can't be ignored. Just as Diddy's legal nightmare deepens with the LA County Sheriff's Department opening a fresh probe into 2020 misconduct allegations, and his prison release date mysteriously delayed, voices like Gene Deal are pivoting the conversation to Jay-Z. The narrative is simple. If one mogul's past can unravel so spectacularly, why not another? And when you trace the patterns, the claims of manipulation, whispers of predatory conduct, decades of tightly controlled public persona, it's hard not to ask, is Jay-Z next? The man who built an empire on sharp business moves and untouchable connections now faces a reckoning that feels unavoidable. Because in the wake of Diddy's collapse, the rules have shifted. The shields that once protected men like them are crumbling, and the stories that were buried, they're resurfacing, and they're coming back with a vengeance.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand.
Let's start with the contradictions. Jay-Z has spent decades building an image as a self-made titan, a husband, a father, a cultural architect who rose from the streets to dominate boardrooms. But behind that glossy exterior, insiders say there's another side. A shadow operator who allegedly betrayed allies, sidestepped conflicts when convenient, and, most alarmingly, preyed on vulnerable young women. These aren't just idle rumors, they're part of a growing chorus, getting louder as Diddy's collapse encourages others to speak out. Take the explosive claims from figures like Jaguar Wright, who didn't just call Jay-Z a monster online. She alleged he's controlled Beyoncé through substances, turning their marriage into what she describes as a calculated business arrangement.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé, who was struggling.
Then there's the former bodyguard known as Uncle Ron, who went viral earlier this year, claiming Jay-Z has been giving Beyoncé substances to keep control over her. The details are shocking. A marriage built on transactions, not love. A wife who, according to these accounts, functions more like an employee than a partner. And a power dynamic so extreme that even Beyoncé's legendary independence could be a facade. Now ask yourself, if there's even a grain of truth here, what else has Jay-Z been hiding? The parallels to Diddy's situation are striking. Both men rose to power in the same era. Both used influence as a weapon, and both have faced whispers of questionable behavior for decades. But while Diddy's alleged crimes are now being examined in courtrooms and police reports, Jay-Z's history has mostly been protected by his reputation, his lawyers, and a meticulous PR machine. That shield, however, is starting to crack.
I mean, let's just be real for a second. There are a lot of lawyers who call this legal extortion, and that this is the way the legal system works, which is you threaten somebody with reputational harm. And in this case, it's interesting that Jay-Z, who's very wealthy, said it would be financial ruin.
The same legal tactics that once kept scandals under wraps, NDAs, strategic silence, the looming threat of lawsuits, aren't working as they used to in 2025. The culture has changed. Survivors are speaking up, and the public no longer separates the art from the artist's actions. When Diddy was convicted on federal charges this summer, the message was loud and clear. No amount of fame or fortune can escape accountability forever. So why should Jay-Z be any different? Now, let's examine the patterns. Diddy's fall didn't happen overnight. It was a slow unraveling, fueled by civil suits, criminal probes, and a growing number of accusers who refused to stay quiet. Jay-Z's situation mirrors that path in chilling ways. There's been long-standing speculation about his relationships with young women in the industry, allegations that go all the way back to the 90s when he was reportedly pursuing Aaliyah while she was still a teenager.
You have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy.
Dame Dash, Jay-Z's former business partner, has openly talked about the bitterness Jay-Z reportedly held over Aaliyah's rejection, painting a picture of a man obsessed with control. Then there are the Foxy Brown rumors, resurfacing thanks to Wendy Williams, who casually mentioned on her show that Jay-Z and the rapper had a romantic connection before Beyoncé. On its own, that might seem like tabloid noise, but layer it alongside Jaguar Wright's claims, who's been sounding alarms on both Diddy and Jay-Z for years, and a much darker picture emerges. Wright didn't just label Jay-Z a predator. She framed him as part of a system where powerful men allegedly exploited and silenced others. And if the Diddy trial has taught us anything, it's that where there's one accuser, there are usually more waiting in the wings. The timing here is no accident. Diddy's legal battles have cracked open the floodgates, and the entertainment world is bracing for the next domino to fall. Just look at how quickly the LA Sheriff's Department launched an investigation into new claims against Combs, allegations that, if true, could extend his prison time. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's name is creeping into the conversation, not from fringe voices, but from people who've actually worked alongside him.
Got his ass whipped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got his ass. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
Gene Deal, a figure deeply connected to hip-hop's inner circles, has been outspoken about Jay-Z's alleged betrayals, claiming he spent years playing both sides and staying loyal only to himself. Then there's the R. Kelly situation. Dame Dash has publicly criticized Jay-Z for working with Kelly, not once, but twice, despite Kelly's well-known history of abusing young women, including Aaliyah. Dash's disgust wasn't just personal, it was a moral indictment. If Jay-Z was willing to overlook Kelly's crimes for profit, what else might he have turned a blind eye to? But it gets even more tangled. Jay-Z isn't only facing whispers about his personal life. Questions about his business dealings are surfacing too. The very empire that made him a billionaire, Roc Nation, his sprawling investment network, has long operated under a tight veil of secrecy.
At this point, I would want, why?
And now, as Diddy's legal team scrambles to appeal his conviction, insiders are asking who else in their circle could be exposed. The RICO charges that nearly toppled Diddy were based on the idea that his business was a front for criminal activity. Could that same reasoning apply to Jay-Z's empire? We know he's faced lawsuits before, from investors, from artists, from former partners claiming they were cut out or manipulated. But what if those disputes are just the tip of the iceberg? What if, like Diddy, Jay-Z's success was built on more than just talent and grind? And let's not ignore the cultural moment we're in. The public's patience for powerful men with dark pasts is at an all-time low. The Me Too movement didn't just expose individuals, it tore down entire systems of protection. And Jay-Z, despite his carefully polished image as a family man and philanthropist, has never fully addressed the whispers about his past. He's never had to, until now.
Those things. That's in the indictment. Cassie has not denied it, but they came out and said, that Diddy used to like to watch Cassie. That's what he's into. Some men like to do that stuff. There's not a crime in that. But yes, Ray J, from what I was told, from being inside at the highest level, that Jay-Z likes to watch Beyoncé with different men, such as Ray J.
Because the same forces that toppled Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and now Diddy aren't slowing down. They're gaining steam. And if Jay-Z's name keeps surfacing in these conversations, it's only a matter of time before someone with real leverage, an accuser, a former associate, a prosecutor, decides to pull the thread. There's another layer here too. Beyoncé, one of the most powerful women in music, a global icon who built her career on strength and independence. If even a sliver of the allegations about their marriage holds water, the fallout could be monumental. We're not just talking about a personal scandal. We're talking about the potential collapse of a dynasty. The Carters aren't merely a power couple, they're a brand, a cultural institution.
He would think about it and this would be in his mind, but I wouldn't actually know what another person is feeling.
And if that brand is built on a foundation of coercion and control, the fallout wouldn't just be personal, it would be seismic. Remember, Beyoncé has hinted at turbulence in their relationship before. Lemonade wasn't just an album, it was a public reckoning with infidelity and power imbalances. But what if the truth runs even deeper than she revealed? What if the Becky with the good hair scandal was only the tip of the iceberg? Now let's connect the dots. Diddy's conviction came after a years-long investigation that began with a single accuser and escalated into a federal case. Jay-Z's situation could follow a similar trajectory. The allegations from Jaguar Wright and Uncle Ron may sound shocking to some, but they aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a bigger pattern, one where powerful men in hip-hop are finally being held accountable for behavior that was once ignored or excused.
Walked away, got no money,
Got nothing.
over.
And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that
We should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew.
And Jay-Z, with his history of alleged manipulation and ties to some of the industry's most controversial figures, suddenly looks far more exposed. We also can't ignore the legal landscape. Diddy's team is already scrambling to reduce his sentence, arguing that the charges against him were exaggerated. But the reality is clear. He's in prison, his reputation shattered, and his empire unraveling. Jay-Z, meanwhile, has avoided major legal trouble for decades, but that doesn't mean the threats aren't real. Civil lawsuits, criminal probes, the kind of scrutiny that hits when the public demands answers, none of it is off the table. And if history teaches us anything, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So where does that leave us? With more questions than answers. If Jay-Z's past is as troubling as insiders claim, why hasn't it surfaced sooner? Who's been shielding him? And what happens when that protection vanishes? Perhaps most importantly, what's lurking in the corners of his history that he doesn't want exposed? The pieces are starting to fit together, and the picture isn't pretty. But here's the thing about reckonings. They don't hit all at once. They build until the pressure becomes unstoppable. Diddy's fall was the first crack in the dam. Jay-Z could be the flood. And that leads to the most chilling question of all. If these dark rumors are true, who's next to step forward? Because in the court of public opinion, it only takes one credible voice to change everything. One accuser, one leaked document, one former associate with nothing left to lose. The dominoes are set. The only question is, which one topples first? The whispers about Jay-Z's betrayals aren't coming from random critics. They're coming from people who were once inside his inner circle. Gene Deal, a name with serious clout in hip-hop's underground, has been outspoken about how Jay-Z allegedly turned on allies when it suited him.
Greed, the money.
Yes.
Or the power, one of the two.
I mean, it
I
looks
don't
more
know.
like power.
It's this spell, right?
Right.
That Jay got. That's why I kind of look at Kanye and Dame and all them. They the old me.
Right.
They the YouTube me.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That this Dame look like the old YouTube me to me because he hurt, bro.
This isn't just about personal grudges. It's about a pattern. Deal's claims suggest Jay-Z didn't just outsmart rivals. He allegedly left them hanging when the stakes were highest, exposing former partners while he strengthened his own position. Sound familiar? It's the same playbook critics say Diddy ran for years, dropping associates the moment they became a liability. And now with Diddy's empire in free fall, the question isn't just whether Jay-Z played the same game, it's whether the people he left behind are finally ready to speak up. What makes it even more striking is how this clashes with Jay-Z's public image. He's the guy who raps about loyalty, the strategist, the chess master, always 3 moves ahead. But behind closed doors, the stories tell a different tale. Take the fallout with Dame Dash, for instance. Their partnership at Rockefeller was iconic, until it wasn't. Dash has publicly said Jay-Z's bitterness over Aaliyah wasn't merely personal. It marked a turning point in their relationship.
Puffy independent. All the people that got hated on in the game, look where they ended up. So I can see my future. I can see what's going on here. This independency is gonna be big. I'm gonna have my own shit. But this ain't to just target him. I just book about my life, a movie about my life. Why not?
He claims Jay-Z couldn't stomach losing to him, and that bitterness morphed into something far darker. Then there's the way Jay-Z allegedly handled the R. Kelly collaborations, pushing forward with not 1, but 2 projects with Kelly even after his history with underage women was widely known. Dame Dash didn't just call it out, he said he refused any profits, directing the money instead to Aaliyah's foundation. That's more than a business dispute, it's a moral red line. And it sparks a chilling question. If Jay-Z was willing to ignore Kelly's alleged crimes for a paycheck, what else might he have looked past? Now, let's examine the alliances that once made Jay-Z untouchable. For years, he's been protected by a web of powerful allies, legal firepower, and a PR machine capable of turning any scandal into a non-story. But that network is beginning to crack.
Sent you that thing with Jazz. Jazz went in when they was going at it on Jay. But you look at the Jazz now, it's like he's on eggshells now. Like something happened. Like this can stop your career or whatever you're doing. This is what I try to tell dudes, yo, whatever God got for you, I don't give a damn billionaire, whoever, this, that, and the third. You can't stop it.
The same industry insiders who once stayed quiet are starting to speak out, fueled by Diddy's downfall. And it's not only old rivals like Dame Dash, it's people who've worked closely with him, who've seen the engine of his empire up close. Jaguar Wright didn't just label Jay-Z a predator. She positioned him within a system where young women were allegedly exploited and silenced. Her claims aren't isolated. They're part of a growing narrative linking Jay-Z to the same shadowy currents that took down Diddy. And if there's one lesson from the Coombs case, it's that once the dominoes begin to fall, they rarely stop at just one name. The legal landscape is evolving too. Diddy's conviction wasn't just about his actions, it was about the architecture of his empire. Prosecutors argued that Bad Boy Records wasn't simply a label, it was a front for a criminal enterprise, one that allegedly masked exploitation as business. Now picture that same logic applied to Roc Nation.
Karma, that's just the forces of nature on how things work. You ruin people's lives, you do harmful things, and who's to say that he might ever pay that price? Who's to say he even done anything wrong to anybody else in his eyes? To me, that's not even the same person. That's someone else. It's not the Sean, the Jay I grew up with.
What if these aren't just random incidents? What if they're part of a much bigger pattern? We know Jay-Z has faced legal scrutiny before, from investors suing over Roc Nation's finances to artists claiming they were underpaid. But what if those disputes are only the tip of the iceberg? What if, like Diddy, Jay-Z's empire was built on more than just talent and hustle. The RICO charges that nearly toppled Diddy were based on the idea that his business was a front for criminal activity. Could the same logic apply to Jay-Z's operations? It's a question that's starting to circulate in legal circles, and one that could carry serious consequences. Then there's the issue with the women. Allegations about Jay-Z's past relationships with young women in the industry aren't new, but in the shadow of Diddy's conviction, they feel more urgent than ever. Aaliyah's name keeps surfacing, not only because of her tragic passing, but because of the questions surrounding her connections to powerful men in music, men like R. Kelly and allegedly Jay-Z.
Oh, as we look at Jay-Z's life, he's a billionaire, married to Beyoncé. Do you feel like he's truly reaped the karma of all his actions?
Where were the comments at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't see.
We ain't see. Nah, well,
or do you feel like he ever will?
I feel like if you done people wrong, you done people wrong.
The timeline is unsettling. Jay-Z was in his late 20s while Aaliyah was still a teenager. Dame Dash has claimed Jay-Z was courting her, sending flowers and making his intentions obvious. And while nothing was ever proven, the optics are striking, especially when you consider how Jay-Z allegedly reacted after Dame Dash won Aaliyah's affection instead. If the stories about his bitterness hold any truth, what does that reveal about his approach to young women in his orbit? And if Aaliyah's story is just one piece of a broader pattern, how many others might be waiting to speak? The connections don't end there. Foxy Brown's name is resurfaced, fueled in part by Wendy Williams' shocking claims about a past relationship. Williams didn't just hint at it, they framed it as something that happened before Beyoncé, back when Jay-Z was still cementing his power in the industry. Why does that matter? Because it fits a narrative that's emerging. Alleged relationships with young women starting their careers, potentially vulnerable to manipulation. And if we're talking vulnerability, the allegations about Beyoncé can't be ignored. Allegations that Jay-Z controlled her, allegedly using substances to maintain dominance, aren't just tabloid noise. They're part of a bigger discussion about power in their marriage. Remember, Beyoncé was only 18 when they began dating. 18! And Jay-Z was already a seasoned industry player, a man known for playing the long game.
For the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than...
If even a sliver of these claims hold water, the fallout would be massive. But it gets even messier. The entertainment world thrives on secrets, NDAs, hush money, and meticulously crafted narratives. Jay-Z has long been a master at controlling the story around him. But control only lasts as long as those around you stay quiet. And right now, that silence is starting to crack.
The first sucker move that he pulled, in your opinion?
Wow, I got a string of them, but look at me in my face, right? During my trial, look at me in my face telling me, yo, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And I never see him again.
The same forces that brought Diddy down, lawsuits, investigations, and the courage of survivors speaking out, are now zeroing in on other powerful figures in the industry. Jay-Z's name keeps surfacing at the top of that list. And it's not just because of his past, it's because of what's happening now. The way he's allegedly navigated these rumors, how his team has reportedly tried to suppress stories, the way he stayed quiet while others talked. It all paints the picture of a man with something to hide. Let's not forget the cultural moment we're in. The public isn't just fed up with powerful men getting away with shady behavior. They're demanding accountability, and the legal system is starting to take notice. Diddy's conviction wasn't just a personal collapse. It was a warning that no amount of fame or wealth can shield you forever.
This timeline is crazy, man.
I know. So many things coming at one time.
Jay-Z has to be aware of that. He's too sharp not to be. But knowing it and actually bracing for it, that's a whole different game. And right now, it doesn't look like he's braced at all. The lawsuits keep stacking. The whispers are growing louder. And the people who once had his back, They're slowly pulling away. That's how this always unfolds. One by one, alliances fracture. One by one, secrets spill out. And one by one, the mighty come crashing down. Now, let's focus on the unseen forces in motion. Diddy's collapse wasn't just about his choices. It was a perfect storm, a cultural shift, a legal system finally willing to hold the powerful accountable, and a media landscape hungry for the truth. Jay-Z is staring down that same storm, and if history's any guide, it's not gonna be pretty.
The thing that happened is Tupac's family is reportedly deciding to investigate the rumors that Diddy was involved in Tupac's video.